The drama this season is unmatched. One performance has Ken crying, Firefly. Just kidding, you guys. She gets pissed in this week's episode, and our Masked Singer detective Kyle has his eye on his next reveal. All that and more in this week's recap. Let's go! Hi, I'm Mel.
And I'm Kyle.
And welcome to the Talent Recap Show. You guys, it was another great week of The Masked Singer Season 7, the second episode, so we're finally stepping into the nitty and gritty of the competition. Kyle, this was another dramatic episode. How did you feel about it?
This has been a super dramatic season already. I mean, last episode, we saw Mick Terrier's mask fall off, and we also saw Firefly have a coughing fit. And then this episode, we saw Firefly get a little sassy when she was in the bottom two.
Yeah, Firefly was not feeling her position in this week's episode. She was at the bottom two. Now, even with that great voice, I think she needs to understand when you're only competing with 3 other people, it's very hard to be number 1 in the episode. But she was down with Ram, who was revealed to be none other than Joe Buck. I had to look at my card, you guys, because honestly, I did not know who Joe Buck was until this episode. Kyle, am I bad for that?
Yeah, he is a very well-known sports broadcaster and in the Fox family, so it totally makes sense that he would be on the show. And we did see a clue earlier this season that was a 6 on a football helmet, and he's commentated 6 Super Bowls. So,
wow.
If that doesn't get him to know you, Mel, I don't know what will.
See, I'm just here for the commercials. I don't know about the commentary, but hey, Joe, it was so good to see you. He actually was a really good performer, especially for someone who doesn't have any real singing talent, or isn't a professional singer, I should say. So everybody is anticipating Cyclops to be Rudy Giuliani, and we did not get a reveal in this week's episode, but Kyle, how are you feeling? Do you think it could still possibly be him?
I have to imagine that whenever Rudy Giuliani is actually on this show, he is going to be a very terrible singer. It will be very apparent that it's him. So I've got to believe that he's in Group B or C that we're going to see later on this season.
You know what? I agree with you, but I also want to speak to you viewers right now. Do you think that he's even still in the competition and the show is just waiting to bring him out longer, or they just completely cut him because of the backlash of him possibly being on the show? Let us know in the comments below. I can't wait to see the rest of the Masked Singer season so we can actually get down to the answer of this. Speaking of Cyclops, you guys, I think it's time for our favorite segment of the show. Our Masked Singer detective Kyle is going to reveal, predict, or should I say expose another character in this week's episode.
All right, well, we have to start by debunking some of the rumors around Cyclops. First of all, there are a lot of people thinking that Cyclops is Corey Feldman, who was an 80s movie star, was in The Goonies and a bunch of movies, and a lot of the clues line up for him. But the biggest thing that I noticed is that Corey Feldman is 5'4", and the Cyclops is definitely not that short. And so I think that's one thing that automatically is a red flag to me. Also, we saw that clue about the meteor in 1988, and Corey Feldman doesn't really have any ties to specifically the year 1988. So many of the clues line up perfectly, but again, the height really is what convinced me that it cannot be Corey Feldman. The second person that we're going to debunk is Sean Astin. A lot of people have been guessing it's him as well. He was in Lord of the Rings, and some people are saying that his eye kind of resembles that graphic of Lord of the Rings. We also saw the treasure map, which obviously Lord of the Rings is all about that quest, and he was in Goonies. So there are a lot of ties there to these clues as well. But we saw that compass that pointed to southeast, and there's no connection to the southeast for Sean Astin. He's from Santa Monica and has lived in LA forever. And then we also saw a cowboy hat in the clues a few times, and from what we can see, Sean Astin has no connection to westerns or cowboys or anything like that. So because of that, we have to say that that theory is also debunked.
Listen, I gotta agree with you. But Kyle, you have debunked these two, and the people want to know, who is the Cyclops?
All right, so the Cyclops is someone who, unlike Sean Astin, does have a connection to the southeast because they were born in Alabama. We also saw a plant growing out of a popcorn bucket, and this person has been in a ton of movies. He talks about always being cast as the villain, and he was the villain in Guardians of the Galaxy, The Walking Dead, Suicide Squad, and that means that Cyclops is...
Drum roll.
Michael Rooker.
Kyle, I gotta support you on this. Give us some more clues.
Yeah, honestly, the one clue that really did it in, and solidified this for me was that clue from tonight's episode, which was 1988 on the meteor. And that is actually the year that Guardians of the Galaxy takes place. And he also played a character in the miniseries Meteor. We had like a treasure map as one of the early clues. And, you know, some say that might be a pirate map. And he plays a space pirate in Guardians of the Galaxy.
What are you laughing at me for?
You can fool yourself and everyone else, but you can't fool me.
We also saw a robot in the first set of clues, and he was in an episode of Robot Chicken.
Someplace in this nightmare world is someone who thinks the same way.
That cowboy hat that I mentioned earlier can be a reference to Michael Rooker's role in the movie Tombstone. So again, really well-known Western film. We also saw an 86 in last week's clue package. It was on the comic book, and that's the year he first appeared in a movie or TV show.
Did you really kill your mama?
I guess I did.
And so again, that was kind of the start of his career. And lastly, we've seen a lot of allusions to Guardians of the Galaxy looking back on the clues. There was a little solar system in a box last week, as well as the comic book that I mentioned, and a rocket, and Rocket is the name of one of the characters on Guardians of the Galaxy. So all that, combined with the fact that he's 5'10", and it looks like Cyclops is just a little shorter than Nick Cannon, but around his same height, and the voice, we have to say that Cyclops is Michael Rooker.
All the clues lined up. I mean, I don't think anybody could debate with you on it not being him. Let us know in the comments below. Do you agree with Kyle? If so, and you have additional clues, let us know what those clues are. If you don't agree with Kyle and just like being wrong, also let us know in the comments below. We'd like to hear who you think it is and why you think it's that person. But I think it's time for us to get into our comment of the week. First one of the season. It comes from Steve Faulkner. I'm sick of Talent Recap thinking he's all perfect all the time. You can't say you're perfect when you don't actually guess who all the singers like Joey or myself do. Me, I try to guess all the contestants, Talent Recap, all of them. If you're not familiar, we also have talentrecap.com where Kyle actually puts his guesses out there. Like, Kyle, I'll let you explain it.
Yeah, I mean, we put articles out as soon as these, people come on stage. So the night that the premiere happens, we have these articles up that are predicting all of the new characters. So you can go on there and see all of our predictions. Like you can see that we predicted that the Ram was Joe Buck. And you can see our predictions, from what we have laid out so far. But yeah, so we have all of those predictions on talentrecap.com.
Yes, so I just wanted to plug that because Kyle definitely guesses all the characters. Unfortunately for our first episode, there's always going to be a reveal. We can't do it when the show, come on you guys, come on. I think it's time for us to wrap up this week's episode. Kyle, let everybody know where they can find you on socials.
Yeah, it's Came On Pleasure on Instagram and Twitter.
And then you can find me at _MELBAE, but make sure you're following us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter. I think I just listed every social media ever, but please know it's at Talent Recap on all platforms. Sometimes you might find me and Kyle in the comments too in the YouTube section. So make sure you subscribe, like, and all that good stuff. And I think it's time for us to say, and that's our Talent Recap.
All right, Mel, let's see if you can walk off like Firefly.
I got you, Kyle.
Hey, what are you doing tonight? Well, I think you should hit the subscribe button down below and then we can talk.